the people for that Satan, I keeps it blazing. Cause I can read between the lines, I ain't blind. We unwind what they're really saying, genetically modify what you're tasting. Don't need that college promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Program to crave the basics, keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid, you're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
So we, eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful friends, welcome to your Sunday night edition of Rogue Ways. Welcome. I am streaming now just on YouTube and DLive because I have been banned from Facebook for 30 days. No joke. Because of prior offenses or whatever and the stupid thing. So let me tell you that story really quick while we're on the topic. What's up, Lacey Mariposa? Nice to see you here tonight. And so basically what happened was, remember when Facebook was having that time when coronavirus was new and everybody was getting warnings for their content, even stuff that made like no sense at all. You'd like post a picture of a bear and they'd be like, this goes against our community standards. And I mean, everyone, even like normies, like people who never post anything controversial, all of that. And so we all got sort of like strikes on our record at that time. I think that you guys remember that. So I do have real strikes besides that. I got one 24-hour, I got one 7-day or whatever. But I think they're counting those fake strikes from that against me as well. Anyway, whether doing that or not, I posted, this is all I posted. I reposted this thing that was allegedly written by an OSHA person, the Office of Safety and Health or whatever for, you know, jobs. And for work sites. And this OSHA expert supposedly was explaining the difference between N95 masks, cloth masks, and surgical masks. And he was explaining, or she was explaining that, you know, because people are like, well, surgeons wear masks all day, so why the fuck can't you wear a fucking mask? And they're explaining, like, well, surgeons, they don't wear their masks for multiple hours in a row often. They take breaks. They might remove their mask during that break. They might put a new mask back on. But also, those masks are made for sterile environments. This is a sterile operating theater. They're sterilized. This mask is just meant to keep their sort of like possible tiny flecks of spit or whatever out of the patient's open body, right? That's a very different situation than we're talking about here. So that's all. That was explained. They explained how N95 masks, you know, are suitable for like, you know, particulates not getting through that are the size of a virus perhaps, but that they're actually very rare and not many people are using those. And so that doesn't really count in this mask debate. And then they're explaining that cloth masks, as we all, I think, know by now, if we have done our research, actually can cause more harm than good. They're causing people to get all kinds of rashes and like infections and like zits all around their face, which is gross enough. They're holding in all of this nasty fucking matter like right up to your mouth and your nose, and you're breathing that in all day. You're growing bacteria and viruses. You're catching viruses in a damp enclosed environment, which is what they love if they exist, right? Then you're like taking that into your body because it's right there up against your nose and your mouth. That's all. It was just text, literally just text explaining that, and I got banned for 30 days from that. I of course appealed it, and they of course said, no, that's right, you're banned for 30 days. So I'm gone for 30 days. And that sucks for me because I actually have a job that requires that I use Facebook Marketplace to sell items for my clients. And I can't even edit the price of an item now. I can still message with people about it, but I can't edit the price. I can't take it down if it sells. So people will just keep messaging me about it forever. It's just frustrating and annoying. You guys know how it is. Facebook is a piece of shit. Trash pile, CIA, fucking, you know, life log book that is meant to spy on us, but that we use anyway because we connect with each other there. And it's nice. So I'm on Twitter now, and I will show you guys my Twitter page so you can follow me there if you would like to stay in connection via social media aside from the show and whatnot. Let me check in and see. Brindle's in DLive. What's up, Brindle? We got Ian here for the night. Got Jillian. Jillian's here. Thank you. I'm so glad to have you. And I know more people are tuning in now ever since that awesome episode we just did on Thursday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is the swap cast we did with Sam Tripoli's Tinfoil Hat podcast. Super rad. Sam's an awesome guy. And we did a show with Phoenix Aurelius, which if you're a fan of Rogue Ways, you have seen many times before. And this time we did some more live IDF investigations, and we did questions that we had gathered from Phoenix's social media sort of friends and connections, Sam's social media friends and connections, and my own. And if you saw that show, it was an awesome show. We had so many things come up, including the nature of Rh negative blood, which was pretty interesting. And so IDF investigations, if you don't know, are intrinsic data field investigations. It's also known as radionics. This is a history and a science that, utilizes certain devices to read the intrinsic data field of anything that exists, living and non-living, and get information. Therefore, you can also use it to sort of send out frequencies of health to people, and Phoenix uses it in that way as well. And if you did not yet know, Phoenix is a master alchemist and an awesome dude, and he has all kinds of really cool goods on his site that you can get. Tinctures. I get the liposomal vitamin C, and I try to take that every day, and I just got some more tinctures. I forget what they are. He just has so many cool things that you can access to support your health and wellness, and so he's a really awesome resource. We're very lucky to have him in the world, and very lucky to have him on Rogue Way so often, and I'm sure he'll be back soon to do more. I am supposed to be on Tinfoil Hat coming up here soon, I think next week. I believe. I'm losing track of things. I have so much going on, but I haven't announced it yet because it wasn't close enough, and now I want to announce it. I'm going to be on Tinfoil Hat podcast with Sam Tripoli, and I'm very excited to do that. And I'm sure we'll have Sam back on Rogue Ways as well as time moves forward. So exciting things are happening. I've got some really cool interviews coming up towards the end of the month that I'm super excited about. Dr. Thomas Cowan is here. He, if you don't know, was one of the founders of the Weston A. Price Foundation. If you don't know Weston Price, dude, it's awesome. It's all about how our, prepackaged, carb-heavy food lifestyle, low-fat lifestyle is just killing us. And he went around and, sampled data from all around the world, from tribes and people who are still living in harmony with the earth, and figured out that they were much healthier. They had all their teeth intact and straight and nice and healthy, big jaws, and shining skin, and just smiling, and he documented all of that and showed that our Western diet of prepackaged items that we get from the grocery store was killing us. So super fascinating dude. Dr. Thomas Cowan helped make his foundation and spread that information, along with Sally Fallon, who you may have heard of as well. I hope to get her on the show too someday. And then I also had a really awesome interview with, coming up with Athen Kementi. He's the sidereal / Vedic astrologer who's revolutionized astrology and astronomy, and awesome guy to talk to. Very lucky to talk to him. So that's coming up. I'm going to try to get James Perloff soon. So we have all kinds of cool things coming up and happening on Rogue Ways. And sorry, I keep talking with my hair. I'll try to stop. It just happens. It happens when I have a mirror in front of me, which is what this screen is. Oh, thank you, JRM669Mar. I'm glad that you saw me with Sam Tripoli. Thank you for subscribing. Got so much love from the Swarm. I'm very grateful for you guys. It's super awesome. And maybe you guys can all hop over to Twitter and keep me entertained for the next month as well. I'm lonely over there. I've never really used it until I get bans, and then I get bored and I go on Twitter, and then yeah, so there I am. So I'll show you, again, my Twitter page in a minute, so you can hopefully follow me there. Jesus Lopez is in the house. The hay diet. I'm actually on the AIP diet now, and that's because I have a autoimmune disorder, which I have talked about, I think, a couple times, and so I don't want to bore everyone with it. But it's Hashimoto's, and I'm eating the autoimmune protocol diet, and just as an update, since it came up, I am feeling really good. I'm feeling awesome. I've only been doing it, I think, for like a week. God, you guys probably know better than I do, because you probably remember the show where I announced that I was starting it. But yeah, I have a lot of things I can't eat, but I have a lot of things I can eat. And in eating those things and cutting out everything else, I am returning to some of my previous energy levels that I haven't had for like 4 to 5 years or more. And I don't know if you see it in me, but I just feel more vibrant and alive, and hopefully that lasts, and hopefully it's not just a fluke, and hopefully it's actually from the diet, and we'll see. I'm very excited. It's really nice. It's worth the strict diet to feel this good. So, and hopefully I'm going to feel even better, because I'm still not even feeling how I once did not that many years ago, but hopefully. What's up, Vanguard of Truth? Whoop, whoop, you made it. You're here. But Jesus Lopez, that sounds interesting, and I will look into it. Oh, you're not that late, Vanguard. We've been here for 10 minutes at the most. Wow, 10 minutes goes by fast. So I'm going to do some call-ins in a bit, but I wanted to remind you guys of where you can find me and how you can hook up with me on Subscribestar here. It's my favorite way to be supported by people. I'm so grateful to all my Subscribestar people. This is my sort of foundation of how I keep Rogue Ways going and how I justify to myself that it's, worth keeping on and keep doing it. Plus, I love it. It's awesome. But it's really cool when I can have the expenses for it paid for, and not be doing it as a really, really expensive hobby that I can't afford. So I really appreciate anyone who can come over and share back the value that they have found in Rogue Ways so far. Even the $1 level, the Rogue Sprout level, that's awesome. This ensures, that there's a little bit just to help keep things going. It's really worth it. It's awesome. I appreciate it so much for people who are doing that. I know not everyone can afford more than that. So it's a really nice gesture, and thank you to those people who are doing that. The Rogue Roots level gives you access to some videos and some writing that's not available anywhere else but on my Subscribestar, and as well as audiobook recordings. I just uploaded chapter 30. Every single chapter up to 30 is now uploaded on my Subscribestar of the novel Sine Curve of Aeons, and that is going to be done soon. I have 2 more chapters to upload, so in a couple weeks, the entire audiobook will have been uploaded to Subscribestar, and then I'm going to compile them all into one unit and sell them. So the Subscribestar people will get that at a heavy discount, practically free, and then everyone else can buy it from my site. So if you're interested in listening to Sine Curve instead of reading it, that is the way to go. The Rogue Heart level gets you everything at previous tiers, as well as a couple extra bonuses, including after 5 months at this tier, you can request a 10-card tarot reading. And the Rogue Soul level gets you 1 tarot reading a month, 10-card tarot reading. That's usually a $60 value. It's only $55 on Subscribestar, so that's actually a $5 discount, and you get everything else that's on Subscribestar. It's a fantastic deal. And I appreciate the people who subscribe at that level a lot. It means a lot to me, guys. And if you just want to buy a tarot reading or just check out some other stuff I do that's free, you can go to CoreySharman.com. It's also rogueways.org. There's all kinds of stuff here. Mostly, it's my writing and other people's writings. But I also link to my Subscribestar, link to old episodes of Rogue Ways, or I used to host the audio on the site, so those are all still here. My books are all linked to from here. They're all on Amazon, but you can also link through here to purchase them. So Sine Curve of Aeons is there. If you do like to read instead of listen, this has been available for a while. You can grab it. It's a super awesome story. It traverses time and space, life and death, aeons and civilizations. It is a love story, an action story, a story about humanity's progression through the yugas, and a story about good versus evil. I'm gonna tell you, good doesn't always win. There's a hardcover version of that as well. There's A Gypsy on the Res, which is my memoir from my time teaching on a Native American reservation. It is irreverent and funny and sometimes heartbreaking. And a collection of poems called Mutable Realia. Literally any day now, I'm going to drop the sequel to Sine Curve of Aeons, which is called Earth, A Trough in Time. I am right now on chapter 30 that I'm editing. And it's only 33 chapters, so really, really soon. It's really close, you guys. I can feel it. So I feel like the audiobook for Sine Curve is going to come out at the exact same time as the completed sequel to the book, which is pretty awesome. And of course, like I was saying, you can buy a tarot reading while you're here. You don't have to subscribe at Subscribestar to get a tarot reading. You can just gift me through PayPal $60, and I will gift you back a 10-card reading. And that is awesome. This is a little description of the philosophy and the deck I use and just sort of how I look at tarot and what I do. But if you want to just purchase it through the shop instead of donating through PayPal, you can also purchase it here. Some people feel weird about gifting through PayPal because they feel like I'm not going to actually come through on it. But I tell you, nobody has ever been disappointed. I come through every time. I'm a very honest person. But it makes sense. If you feel uncomfortable, you can come here and purchase a 10-card tarot reading. I should take this Sine Curve Super Sale off because there's none left. Everybody bought all the copies of Sine Curve on Super Sale. And soon when I'm done with the sequel, I will definitely be doing a bundled Super Sale in here for both books. So look out for that. If you want to purchase a class about finding your spiritual allies or psycho-spiritual protection, that's also here, as well as guidance sessions. I love guidance sessions as much as I love tarot readings, honestly. They're very similar, but the guidance session is without the cards. We just can talk about whatever is on your mind and get to the root of some things. So those are fun as well, a little bit cheaper as well. So that's the shop and the things you can buy on Rogue Ways. I want to also show you guys the Organite. You can get Rogue Ways gear like this mug that you always see me drinking out of, and cool shirts and other things as well. And then here in the Organite section of the shop, these are all the pieces that I have left. So I've got Hearts, Trinity, Soliloquy, I've got Sunbeams. They're all just kind of different layouts and patterns. You see these smaller ones with the holes in them. These are meant to be pendants. You can wear them like a necklace, like the one I'm wearing right now. I wear one almost every day that I made myself of the same style. I love them. They're super energetically dense. Maybe that's not the right word. They're energetically powerful. Maybe that's a better word. There's all kinds of, like I said, different designs that you can look through. If it says plaque, then it's a plaque, and the size is in the description, so you can see like how big or how small it is. There's a tiny bit of reference around some of them, so you can kind of see how big they are too. But otherwise, the description will tell you about the size. You can't really tell from these pictures. Some of these are pretty big, and some of these are very, very tiny. But these are all available. Some of them are amazing prices that I barely make like $1 off of after shipping and everything. So it's really just my gift to you. I really like to be able to provide people with these things and get them out there in the world. That's what it is for. And as promised, here's my Twitter. It says Rogue Ways, but it's at Apotropaic Soul. I'm just going to paste that because it's hard for people to spell. And now it's in the chat for you. Please come follow me and play with me. I'm going to get so bored not being on Facebook for 30 days because I don't even go on and look at shit. Like, I don't want to be looking at a bunch of shit I can't react to or respond to. It's just annoying. So I just don't go in there at all, except to do some moderating and eyes open. But yeah, the digital apparition is in the house. I don't know if you guys know, but he's the guy that does the music at the beginning and the ending of every single episode of Rogue Ways. And you can actually get free downloads of many of the songs that have been at the beginning and ending of Rogue Ways on his Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Johnny Bravado. Johnny Bravado. Johnny Bravado, everybody. He's a pretty rad dude. Yes, it is nice when we pay attention to our diet. We have such amazing differences. I know it's true. It's just the AIP diet is so specific and particular. You would never just like stumble upon it. And so I couldn't have known, but I'm so glad I found it. Actually, Johnny's the one who found it for me and showed it to me and was like, maybe this will work for you. Because otherwise I tend to sit around going like, why won't anything help me? Am I vegan? No, the AIP diet is just for autoimmune. It's called the autoimmune protocol diet, and it's not vegan. In fact, meat is one of the things I can eat without restriction. Any kind of meat, any kind of seafood. But there's just a bunch of things. Basically, in a nutshell, what I can't eat are any grains, all grains. There are some grains that people don't realize are grains for some reason, and that includes like rice, corn, millet, like any grain. I cannot eat any grain, which is just everything. Everything that everyone eats is grain. So that's a huge one to try to eat around, honestly. No grains, no nuts, no seeds, most seeds at least. I can't remember anything else, but there's a lot of shit that I can't eat. That's the big ones though, grains, nuts, and seeds. Nightshades. I can't really have most nightshades. Like I can't have tomatoes or potatoes. That's again, like the number one thing people eat. And I can't have any dairy. Dairy's a big one too. I already kind of didn't have much wheat or much dairy, but now I can't have any at all. And I've noticed that even having trace amounts of things, I react to it. So this diet is really strict, but there's a reason, and it's working. So it makes me want to do it even more strictly. The Ronin's in the house. That's right. I don't know Larry. Larry who? Larry Gators? Larry Gators? I don't even know who that is. My bad. You'll have to educate me. Oh, thank you, Lacey. Lacey is one of the people in the chat right now who has had a tarot reading from me, and she knows that it's not a joke. I don't take it lightly. I do like an hour of preparation, honestly, before and after your reading to make sure the space is clear and secure and safe, and then to, cleanse myself and get myself prepared so I can be this channel for your higher self, your higher allies, your, God, whatever you describe as your sort of thing, that's what comes through for you. And so I take that very seriously, and it's like a sacred offering that I like to give people. And then Lacey is one of the people who knows that when that happens for you, it can be very profound in your life and lead to incredible things for you. So yeah, if you're someone who is, struggling or just searching, or you have like an issue or a problem, I mean, it's a really awesome option. Yes. Uke Taco Poo is in the house. Big fan. Keep going. Thank you so much, Uke. I really appreciate that. Oh. Let's just say if you're here to talk about my body appearance or me in a sexual way, then I'll just ask you to leave. And if you can't do that, then I'll have to block you because it's really not appropriate. Kirstie Alley is your neighbor. I literally just followed Kirstie Alley on Twitter today, Brindle. That's funny. Oh, that's probably why you saw it here on my Twitter profile. I had to retweet this because it's a good question, and it leads directly to the thing that we're talking about today, which is child porn and pedophiles and how rampant it is in our society. We're not doing a deep dive into it. I'm not covering all the things. I just want to cover the one thing recently that was the most shocking thing, and take some calls from people if they're interested. But she says, Twitter, why don't you take down child porn Twitter accounts when they're reported? What the fuck? And she's right. It's crazy. In fact, that whole thing where Facebook hid the Save the Children hashtag for a while and then brought it back. But I was like, yeah, but what did they scrub in the meantime? What did they take out? What did they hide? What were they keeping us from seeing? Because that hashtag's been around and all of a sudden they canceled it. But Bateo asks, is tarot witchcraft? No, I'm sure it can be. Tarot is a tool. I am not a witch, and therefore for me it is not witchcraft. But if a witch was doing tarot, it would be witchcraft. For me, it is a tool that we use in order to translate symbolically messages from your subconscious, your higher self, or again, however you want to describe that spiritual realm for you, then that's what comes through. And part of my skill is not just in reading the tarot cards that I've been working with for 20 years, the exact same deck, but also in understanding the sort of subtle relationships between symbols, and also in setting up that space like I was talking about in a very protected manner. And so there's ways you can misuse tarot. There's ways, and I've told the story before. Most recently, I told it on a podcast appearance I did. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the podcast. That sucks. But I tell this story sometimes that happened to me when I misused tarot and invited stray spirits to just attach to me, which you never want to do. And so now part of my methodology includes, again, sort of making a protective area and setting up my sort of wards, if you want to call it that, and centering myself in the center of that. And then allowing myself to be a sort of hollow channel for your higher energies to come through to make this reading happen for you. So that's part of my skill that I use in doing tarot readings. It's definitely not much witchcraft for me. Can I recommend a book on tarot? Well, since you ask, let me just tell you. And since we're not even looking at the screen right now, I got really big and then really small again. I will show you my deck. This is called the Handel Tarot by Herman Handel. Some people don't like him. I don't care about him. He did a very skilled job of creating this deck. It's the best deck I've ever seen. It's rad. So these are the back of the cards. People will point out that some people think that looks like a gray entity. My entire life I saw it as a hawk's eye. So that's what it is to me. You can see whatever you want. One of the things that's really cool about this deck, first of all, one of my favorite cards just popped up. This is the Death card. This is the Major Arcana card. There's Major Arcana, Minor Arcana in Tarot, and the Major Arcana are these sort of archetypal energies that flow through everybody's life in steps of sort of awakening or transformation, or however you want to think of that process of life. And they just put so many layers in here. One of the things I love is they have the Hebrew letters up here in the corner, if you can see that. They've got Nordic runes up in the other corner. And this is in addition to all the symbolism that is there. And then also in the lower corner here, you see the astrological symbol, this time, of course, of Scorpio. There's a lot going on in every single card, therefore. I've already named like 3 major esoteric sort of symbolic traditions. But we also have the suits. I want to find one of each one if I can. For example, each suit, there's 4 suits, just like a deck of cards. The suit of swords is all based around the Egyptian pantheon, the Egyptian mythology, the Egyptian mysteries. So all of the sword suit has that connotation. The suit of cups is all around the Celtic or the Northern European sort of mythologies. So we have Parsifal here in this card. So that's a suit of cups. If I could find a suit of stones, I will show you. The wands are all from India. There's some Hindu sort of Vedic symbolism and mythology. And here's a stone. The stones are all sort of a Native American mythology and background. And so this deck incorporates multiple mythologies and traditions and sacred traditions and mysteries and all the symbolism. It's just very incredibly well done. Lots of tarot decks are very disappointing for me when I look at them, and this one has never... I found it when I was like 13 and I've never used another deck. So the reason I even brought that up is when you ask about books, these are the 2 books that correspond to this deck. They were written by a woman who actually helped him sort of channel and create this deck, Rachel Pollack. And so I know these words are backwards for you guys, unfortunately, but Rachel Pollack's The Handel Tarot Volume 1 and 2 not only teach you about this deck, but even if you didn't have this deck, she does an awesome job of breaking down each card and the meaning behind it and various symbols and colors and shapes and everything. She just is, it's a rich book about this. So I found these used online years ago. You can tell they're well loved, and I have had them since then. So that's the book I personally recommend if you want like an overview of tarot. I teach a class that is an overview of tarot as well. You can buy it on my site in that classes section that we looked at. And that class is meant for people who are beginners utterly of tarot. And I go through, some of the stuff I just touched on, but more so about just how to sort of read and how to look at the energies of the deck. But another book that I would suggest, and this is for maybe people who are more advanced in tarot than that basic level I just described of not really even understanding kind of how the deck is structured or how you would even start a reading or any of those things. But if you already do readings, you kind of understand that stuff, I would suggest this book. The cover is ripped because, again, I do used books, but this is a Dictionary of Symbols, and it's by Sir Lot. And I just jumped out from a shelf to me one day, and I got it, and I have never been disappointed. Every symbol you can think of is in here, sometimes with illustrations. My bad. Right, it's awesome. And this book also relies on various traditions in their descriptions of each symbol. So when you become more adept at looking at symbols and interrelationship of symbols, and then it's way easier to do readings, because readings, as we know, the language of the soul is all symbols. And so it's also the language of assholes who control the world, but that doesn't mean that it's theirs and they own it or that it's bad, right? This is something that the spiritual realm sort of like speaks to us through symbols. And so we want to be able to interpret that and understand that. So it's a awesome set of books. Those 3 books that I just described would be great. All right. Yes. Need to chill. That's right. Michelle's Healing Home is back. Nice to see you again. I do have a great relationship with tarot. It's a long story. I could tell it a million times, but I do have an episode on Rogue where I do tell the story. I just remembered, and I think it's called Tarot and the Journey. So if you want to go watch that, I talk about that negative experience I had, that spirit that became attached to me, and how that led to me, finding tarot again and using it in a very positive, uplifting way for myself and for everyone involved. So it's a fun story, and it talks a lot about tarot if you want to go watch that or listen to that episode. Does astrology intertwine with tarot? Yes, absolutely. Astrology and is also a very symbolic language if you want to look at it that way. It's got a lot of mathematical precision involved in it, and that upcoming episode with Athen Kementi will go into more depth about those specifics. But if you just look at the broadest sense of symbolism, anything symbolic has to do with tarot. Tarot is a deck of cards that is arranged in a specific way to utilize symbols in order to help us interpret them and relate them to our lives in very specific ways, if that makes sense. Michelle's Healing Home asks, are you familiar with Barbara Walker? No, sorry. But you can make me familiar with her, and that might be cool. Bishop Larry Gators took into him his word, meanings and history is wild. He's been on Tinfoil. Also looking forward to seeing you on there. But thank you, JRM66 and Mar. Bishop Larry Gators. I'm just going to open a tab and look him up. And see. Ooh, he looks interesting. Maybe I can grab him and have him on Rogue as well. Oh, you're not looking at the screen with me. Sorry. My bad. I'll show you the screen again in a minute when I'm done catching up with the chat. So I like to chat with you guys. Oh, I am caught up with the chat. Well then, here's what we came to do. Not talk about Bishop Larry Gators. Again, please come follow me at Apotropaic Soul on Twitter. I would love that. And again, like, share, subscribe. I know you get sick of hearing that, but some people honestly don't know that I would love it if they subscribe, or sorry, if they share videos that I do. Like, yes, please share anything I do with anyone you want. I would love that. I'm very grateful for that. But here we have this video. You may have seen this. It's disturbing. Let me just show you a bit about this troll doll that is made from that Trolls movie, I guess. I haven't seen it. I don't know. It's a thing. I guess kids like it. It's not really even your traditional trolls, but it's supposed to be after those trolls we had in like the 80s with the crazy hair and stuff. But now they have like crazy eyes and faces and fucking, they're like, I don't know, whatever. Maybe you like them. I think they're probably stupid, but here we go.
Okay, I wanted to do a quick video because I find this disturbing and I find it something that needs to be shared. As you all know, stuff that's been going on in the world about the sex trafficking in kids and things that are thrown in our kids' faces to kind of groom them and make them kind of a little bit more oblivious to things that are really happening. So it was my daughter's birthday a couple days ago, and she turned 2, and she was given this gift. It's like a little...
I just want to say too, I don't know why you'd give this to a 2-year-old, but I'm a very big weirdo when it comes to like what kids should be playing with. So I guess that's just me.
Poppy doll. It's adorable. And here's the box. So she had a Poppy birthday, and so they gave her this. It's just from the new movie, The Trolls World Tour. On the box, it says Giggle and Sing Poppy.
Poppy is a character,
on the back,
I guess.
It says that if you push her tummy right here, sorry, it's glaring. If you push her tummy right here, she makes 10 phrases and sounds, and that's all it talks about, and it comes with a little comb. So, I mean, she does all that. You touch her tummy, and she makes little singing sounds, and she's super cute. Well, I was showing her to my husband, and I heard some other sounds that I had never heard before. And if you look down here, I figured a video was the best way So I just touched her tummy and she's going to sing for a minute. But down here is a button right here on her privates.
It's on her butt or her vagina. I mean, it's closer to her butthole, honestly, but like it probably kind of involves both. It's fucking disturbing, dude.
And if you push those, she makes these sounds.
Like, why would it say wee ha 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 when you touch its vagina? It's disgusting.
Like a gasping sound. And I know some of you may not like think this is a big deal.
I don't know anyone who wouldn't think that's a big deal. What? This is a big deal. This toy that doesn't advertise vagina buttons has a vagina button that makes this thing make sex noises. They're sex noises, or they're like like coy noises or whatever, but they're like sexual. Like it's on her vagina, and the main point is that box did not advertise this because that's part of the way they like tried to. So this came out. People were like, yeah, right. I saw another video where a lady went to the store, found the thing, like pulled it out of the box and pressed its vagina to see if it was true. And it was. They show you from start to finish, like going in the store and everything. So you can see it all unedited. So you know that this is like not just this like I mean, how would it be? This woman wouldn't like make a doll and just try to trick people, right? So it's a real thing. These dolls actually exist. They've got little buttons on their vaginas to make sex noises. But as soon as that gains attention and traction, of course, all the fact checkers come out. Fact check. Troll doll button in private area, not intentional or part of kids grooming. Like, that's a fact? That's a fact somehow. This opinion is a fact somehow. But this is how stupid people have gotten to where they just are like, oh, that's been fact checked. It's been debunked. You're like, which part has been debunked? The doll had a button on its vagina and it made sex noises. Like, that's not debunkable. That's not a fact checkable thing. That's fact check true. That's just real. So they just go into their, this thing. And so it says, oh my God. Yeah, I don't even know how this is rational to people. The DreamWorks Trolls World Tour Giggle and Sing Poppy Troll Doll, which is a way too long of a name, introduced by Hasbro in its spring toy lineup, has a strategically placed button between its legs that giggles when the doll is placed in a sitting position. No, that's not what it does. It giggles when you touch its vagina. And if it giggled when you sat it, it would say buttons for sitting and laughing or whatever, which is not even a thing. That's not something people are like, oh, when I sit, I laugh and make sex noises. Like, that's not a thing. And if it was, again, it'd be on there's nobody who creates a product and doesn't brag about all its functions. So you wouldn't design this thing and then not market it unless you were trying to hide it. Because probably there's a lot of parents who would never look at the toys their children got and wouldn't notice the private area and wouldn't push the button. And then the kid would press it and be like associating giggling with like people touching vaginas. It's fucked up. It's definitely a grooming thing. It's obviously a grooming thing. They suggest it's designed as a part of an effort to groom young children. Yeah, because it's so obviously true. This is that thing where they're like programming you, trying to program people to not take in their actual experiences and use their observations to know what's going on. And you're supposed to go read this USA Today thing and be like, oh, it was just a thing. It's just when it sits, it like makes funny noises. Like, it's so sick. It's aimed at children 4 years and older and giggles 3 different ways when she's tickled. Oh my God. This quote, as you know, stuff that's been going on in the world about sex trafficking and kids and things that are thrown in our kids' faces to kind of groom them and make them kind of a little bit more oblivious to things that are really happening. It's not a very, like, streamlined soundbite sort of a quote. And so they do those things on purpose, too. They're like, look, this person doesn't even really make sense. But they do. It's cool. I mean, they at least quote a couple people like that say that this has been grooming. They're grooming kids to be sexually molested and like it or whatever. Be okay with it. Be like, look, your troll doll loves it. And I wonder now if we watch this movie, if we'll see all kinds of fucked up shit. We do usually anyway, so why not, right? I'm sure it's there, which is why all kids' movies are disgusting and you shouldn't let your kids watch movies, maybe. But yeah, why? Why does the little girl need a button that, like, giggles when you touch its vagina? But in response to a fact check by leading stories that declared them partly false, Cornaby responded on Facebook saying, fact checked, how is this video personal experience deemed untrue? Exactly. It's exactly what I'm saying. We are of an accord. Cornaby. Miss Cornaby. A petition to have the dolls pulled is out. It's not okay. Hasbro respond, this feature is designed to react when the doll was seated, but we recognize the placement of the sensor may be perceived as inappropriate. How could it not be? You are sick, but like all the people that had to come together to create this are all sick. Somebody greenlighted it, people designed it, people constructed it, like a lot of people were involved in this. This was not intentional. We are happy to provide consumers with a replacement Poppy doll of similar value. You assholes. Like, we want to keep the subliminal messaging from the movie going, so we'll definitely give you a replacement doll that doesn't have vagina buttons. Partly false. It's partly false because the giggle button is located in an area that could be referred to as near its private parts. It's not could be. It is on its vagina. Where else? How else would you describe that? It would be misleading, however, to suggest that this design was deliberately linked to grooming children for sex. No, it wouldn't. It's just that you went and you took the company line and you called it news. It's disgusting. Oh, Sergio Boners to Bone says, hi, saw you on Tinfoil Hat with Phoenix. He didn't want to answer the flat earth questions. So what was the IDF machine result he previously did? Well, you can go look actually at a previous episode of Rogue Ways because I myself don't remember exactly what it was. I do seem to remember it being a globe, but that there was a lot, I believe, and I could be very wrong. My memory is not A+, and this was months ago. But I believe that it had said that we are still in a, some sort of enclosed thing, that nobody has ever left that and entered space, and that I just honestly can't remember. But you can go watch the previous episodes with Phoenix. I think there's 4 of them, and every single one of them we do some IDF analysis, and you can even skip through the video until you see the screen change to the part where he's doing IDF analysis, and he'll, then we're actively doing it. Because there's a lot of times where we just talk too. So if it's just us on the screen, we're not doing IDF investigation. And if you see that computer looking sort of readout screen, then you'll know. Elsa Gate. Uke Takopu says, I hope Elsa Gate comes up. Yeah, Elsa Gate was messed up. This is how we have a history of this. We've seen the penis in the Little Mermaid cover, and like the boner on the priest, and like the what are they called? The Rescuers Down Under had like a sex scene in the background, and all of this sick shit. And a lot of it, they're like, oh, some angry animator like slipped it in, and you're like, maybe, right? Like maybe that happened. It's not unheard of that people lash out like on their way out, whatever. But this Elsagate, there's no denying that YouTube was totally covering for pedophiles with Elsagate. And if you don't know about Elsagate, the gist of it is basically that on YouTube Kids, they had all of these cartoons that were like, it wasn't just Elsa from Frozen, it was like Superman and stuff. It was like any sort of popular childhood figure that you could think of, any sort of popular character would be in these shows. And they'd be kind of like poorly done and kind of like, what the hell is this? But so many of them had to do with sexual things in a way that you couldn't overtly sort of point to it and say like, this right here is absolutely sexual. But the whole thing overall, you're like, why are they talking about pee and poop and eating it? Or like, why is she, I don't know, just crazy shit. You can go like see a lot of them still. And the main thing is that YouTube Kids does not in any way have your child's best interest at heart. In fact, a lot of pedophiles are in there specifically trying to groom kids into being okay with this. It's crazy. It's disgusting. These people are everywhere. They absolutely know what they're doing. You're right, Vanguard. Yeah, all toys are trash now. There's sick toys too. Besides this one. This one's a really mainstream one. I mean, like Trolls is a big movie as far as I understand. I don't have connection with that world, but I think it's like kind of a big deal for kids and parents who don't think things through very well, according to our standards here. And so it's big. And so to see this in that world is pretty excessive. But we've seen things too, like at dollar stores will have a lot of questionable material where they'll be like, here's a toy for your kid, and it's a wand, and it's like exactly in the shape of a penis and balls. And you're like, but there's other ways to make a wand. You know, like this is clearly grooming. It's clearly things that people either buy unintentionally and they have no idea, or they buy them because they want to it's fucked up, dude. They might buy them because they want their kids to be confused because they're sick people. I know, I didn't expect this. You know, as much as we know that pedophiles run the world, just like what's her name? Shit, the blonde girl from Eyes Wide Shut. You know who I'm talking about. That lady, she just said that fucking someone, I'm so bad at pop culture. Someone high up in movies told her that pedophiles run the world. We all know pedophiles run the world. We've seen their symbols on everything. They've tried to debunk all of it. And it's all, if you look at it yourself with your own eyes and your own heart open, really obvious. It's really obvious that pedophiles are everywhere. That frickin' pizza bracelet that Joe and Barack shared. Joe Biden's creepy ass touching of kids everywhere all the time on their breasts. Like he'll like there's one where there's like a sort of darker skinned girl. She's in like a maroon dress. She's older. A lot of the kids he's touching are like little kids. It's so disgusting. But this girl's kind of older. Like she actually has like breast buds or whatever appearing. And he just like rubs them. Like he just like his hand like rubs across them. I mean, like you can't just touch. It's disgusting. And people, you show this to people and they'll literally tell you that it's Russian propaganda. I'm like, that's a video of Joe Biden touching kids. No, it's not Russian propaganda. It's a real video. It happened before he was ever running for president. People saw it, called it out before that ever happened. Unless Russia's playing the fucking long-ass game and they're planning shit way in the past in hopes that they could use it when the person decides to run for president in the future. No, it's not. Even then, it's a stretch. There's so many videos of him touching people and especially kids inappropriately. It's not an accident. He's a pedophile. I'll say it. I hope everyone says it until the day they die. He is. We should call out pedophiles where we see them. I've lost a lot of friends actually calling out Joe Biden as a pedophile. They're really attached to him for some reason. The guy is a piece of shit. I don't know anything good he's ever supposedly even done. We all know that like politicians don't really do good things in general. And then especially him, he's done a bunch of really evil shit like the crime bills. People are like, he's touting him as this like anti-racist person and he's like in charge of putting a bunch of black people in prison. It's fucking crazy. Like people have just lost their ability to think things through. Oh. Fact checks, yeah. Fact checks are just the media's way of saying like, here's what we need you to think and believe and tell other people is true. We're not going to provide a lot of evidence. A lot of it's going to be opinion, but we just need you to pretend it's a fact. So biased. Yeah, and USA Today being the fact checker is pretty messed up. Good point, Jillian. Really good point, Vanguard of Truth. How would that button even be pushed when it's sitting down? You guys saw it. That? I mean, I guess, like, maybe technically if you, like, slam it, but, like, you have to, like, depress a button with a finger. It's disgusting. Oh. Yeah, Ian, I think you're right. It is sad, but the dead people aren't going to suddenly reawaken no matter what we do. It's possible that some will, but you kind of eventually have to like let people just go if they want to go, you know? If they don't want to be awakened, that's them. What's up, Chad? Chad's back in the house tonight. It is gaslighting, Jillian. Thank you. It is absolutely gaslighting. They did the same thing with pizza fencing. However, you're supposed to say that to get past scrutiny. We have Bezifus in the house. Yeah, that's just the new normal. Good. That's what they'll say, right? Oh no, you just touch dolls now in their privates. It's not even their private parts unless you're a crazy person conspiracy theorist. Like what? It's vagina. Oh. This timeline is fucked up. We gotta switch it back to the other timeline. Shadow. What's up, Shadow? Nice to see you. Oh, good point. JRM669Mar points out DreamWorks is a Spielberg company. Spielberg. I think he was associated with some possible molestation and murder charges, right? Not charges, sorry. Allegations. Allegedly, he may have murdered small children for sexual pleasure. Jesus Lopez says, the new normal for me is learning to love off-grid or live off-grid, hunting, gardening, and self-sustaining. Yeah, that should be the new normal for all of us. Let's do it. Let's do it. Biggie Smollett is here. What's up? Hey, hey. Oh, good point. Uke Taco Poo points out the Trolls World Tour movie is one of the biggest movies this year because of COVID. Everybody's been locked in, so they're all watching like whatever they're fed. Yuck. That's so true. Good point. Yes, I agree, Jesus. We do run the world, and we don't need to look for invisible voices to aid our decision. We should be doing less of that. More trusting ourselves and working together. Stephanie Martin is here. Yeah, I know. You do have to show it to people. You especially have to show it to people with kids so they don't buy this shit, so that they start paying closer attention. Because it's not their fault. This is the thing. This is why pedophiles get to run the world, is because normal people aren't psychopaths or sociopaths, and they don't expect other people to be psychopaths and sociopaths. And so we don't see it coming. We don't expect it. Even when we see it, we're kind of like, that can't be it, because people don't do that. And like, people do that. And even when we know people act like this, behave like this, and are this evil, we convince ourselves that it's like a few people here and there, that it's rare, or that it's not around us or whatever. And that's exactly how they get away with it. We really need to pay attention and show it to people. Nicole Kidman. Thank you. That's who I was thinking of. That's the blonde woman in Eyes Wide Shut. Not Beyonce, but maybe she made a cameo appearance. She was under one of those hoods somewhere. She was sucking the bear's dick or something. Yeah, Shadow, I'm with you. If someone was sniffing kids like Joe Biden, I would like knock them out. Yeah, you would stop them. You'd be like, dude, can you not tell this kid hates you and doesn't want you to touch him? So stop touching them. Like, respect boundaries of all humans, not just the adult ones. But he doesn't respect the adult ones' boundaries either, allegedly. His body language is creepy. It's true. What's up, Austin Beach? You made it. And Alan Sisko's in the house. Maha Dharmapala. Timberlake has a song. Oh no, does he? I want to like him, but I know when you're tied up with Disney and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and all these people that come out of Disney, just like that one actress said, you know, she did a whole interview and she was like on MTV and she's like, yeah, we were all sexually molested and our abusers are allowed to keep like contact with us and they still have power over us. They're still in the industry and no one cares. And how do you think that makes us feel? And I'm like, dude, people call this out all the time and no one listens. Some people listen and then we're called conspiracy theorists and then we're told to shut up because we're crazy. We're crazy for listening and noticing things and actually understanding logic and fact. That's interesting how that works. But yeah, Timberlake is probably pretty fucked up too. I'm sure he got molested as well. So I don't know if this article is going to have anything additional, but while we're going to maybe wrap things up soon, I'm going to remind you of the phone number that you can now call in to chat with me about any of these subjects we've talked about tonight. Tarot or pedophilia. Those two things should not be in the same show, but that is just how things worked out. So those are the two things that we're talking about tonight. Or if there's something else on your mind you want to talk about, you can call in. It's 740-33-ROGUE. 740-33-ROGUE. I just posted it in the chat. So if you want to call, the lines are now open. I doubt there's anything new in this article, but I just have it up. They did discontinue the doll. I guess that's new. That's what's new in this article. The doll is no longer available. A special private parts button in order to groom young children for pedophilia. However, the fact-checking website Lead Stories has debunked the claim. There's no evidence beyond the fears of some mothers that the button is part of a secret strategy by the toy maker to prep kids for sex trafficking. Oh, the only evidence you need really is that there is a button on the vagina. I don't know how that's no evidence, but whatever. Whatever they need to tell themselves. That's the story they're sticking to. I don't know. I told Rolling Stones to fuck off today on Twitter because they said the same thing. They're like, some crazy conspiracy theorists are saying that this doll is for pedophilia. And I'm like, no, fuck you. It's clearly for, like, fuck off. Rolling Stones, people used to have respect for you. I don't know exactly what I said, but I definitely told them to fuck off. Poppy. Poppy the doll. She's so poppy. She sings for you. And then she also moans when you touch her vagina. And then, again, I'll just reiterate. If the button on the doll's bottom, quote unquote, is designed to make sounds when seated, then they would advertise that. They wouldn't just say touch her belly, make her sing, la la la. They'd say also when she sits down, she moans sexually, or whatever you want to describe that as. But they don't. That's a first in the history of retail, the history of marketing, is that you don't advertise function. Of course you advertise a function. That's what you do. What are you guys saying? Jesus says, dude, Justin Timberlake brought sexy back and then it went away in the form of Jared from Subway. Because he molested kids too, right? Dude, and I bet he did it to get into the group, but then he probably let it leak or like was too sloppy or they got sick of him or something. Because you know that they all do it to be in the club. Disney owns a large part of the media, so of course we're not going to hear the truth. Absolutely. Disney is like one of the top, there's like 6 supposed different media owners, and really there's probably like 2 or none. I mean 1. But yeah, Disney owns like the most of the market, the largest part, and they keep buying up more. Somehow that's okay. Somehow that's not like antitrust. I don't know. All the Disney kids' souls are gone. Was raped out of them. Bezifus says. I added the raped out of them part. Sorry. I should be clear in who I'm quoting when I'm not quoting. Oh, God. Alan points out that the song is called Can't Stop the Feeling. Ugh, that makes me want to vomit. Just vomit. It's disgusting. Really? Shadow says J.R.R. Tolkien hated Walt Disney. And he has great quotes regarding it. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a call now. Let me see.
Call from
Brett Sailors.
To accept, press 1.
What's up?
Lindsay.
Brett!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I guess I have your phone number because I knew it was you.
Oh, no shit. Are you still on the air?
I am. You are. We are.
Woohoo!
Woo! What's up?
Nothing. I got on late, but I thought I'd call in and say what's up. See what's happening here on the Rogue Ways program.
Are you having fun?
Yeah, I had a wonderful weekend.
Awesome. You swam and you played and you drank and hang out with cool people.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yes. And my nephew and my brother came over. My nephew's getting ready to go to college, so got to see him right before he left for school, and we put together my desk, and that was fun. And yeah, everything's cool.
Oh, you got a new desk. Dude, I've been jealous. I don't know if people out there realize, but Brett is down in Texas, and Brett has been able to go to like outdoor parties and like concerts and cool ass shit because they're not all freaking the fuck out apparently.
Yeah, my county that I live in is one of the few in the great state of Texas that is not at all freaking out. Like, we're not mandated to wear masks and shit.
That is so nice. We are here, but like people aren't as freaky about it as some places, I think. So I'm a little bit lucky. I've been able to not wear a mask the whole time, but we definitely don't have outdoor like concerts or activities of large groups of people, which would be nice. It'd be nice to go to. I don't even normally go to them. Honestly, I'm like kind of a shut-in, but just seeing that we can't, I want to do it. So it makes me angry that I can't.
I've gone to some that I wouldn't normally go to just because it's like a gathering where people aren't wearing masks, and I just feel like that's something that I got to support.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So pretty rad. I'm trying to think. What are we talking about? Pedophilia?
we're talking about the troll doll.
I don't have any good stories, but I did see something interesting that's kind of off topic, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, go for it. We can talk about anything.
All right, cool. Did you see what happened or what's happening, I should say, in Australia? That they got like put on like major league lockdown?
No, I mean, I saw that a while ago they had that building that was mostly full of poor immigrants, of course, that they locked completely. You couldn't even leave the building for a certain amount of time. I saw that, but I haven't seen anything since then that it would indicate a ramping up.
Well, I believe Victoria, which is one of the bigger, and I don't know if they have provinces or how exactly they divide up the continent, but it's a huge area. But they're on a 6-week lockdown where they're not allowed to go out between the hours of like 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. And there's like armed guards that are making sure that people aren't, anywhere they're not supposed to be, and that they're coming in doing like random checks in houses and stuff.
Dude.
Yeah, it's the most like extreme form of lockdown that at least it's been broadcast so far. And I just wanted to make the point because a lot of people don't think about this, but that would never happen if they hadn't given up their guns. That's the only reason that, in this country, you'll never have cops that barge into people's homes as a rule, because there's a lot of homes that if you barge into, you're going to get shot.
Wow, that's a really good point about the guns. And it's also, as we all, I think, know if we've traveled down these paths long enough, this is the, Australia tends to be like the sort of testing ground before things move more Western. Australia and the United Kingdom, honestly, both are sort of testing grounds for various levels of oppression before we get them in the U.S. But you're right that we probably would resist it easier because we have guns and because we have so many people who are liberty-minded. But, I mean, Australia is full of people who are liberty-minded, too. It just sucks that they've been able to take control so thoroughly. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I got into some, this is going back a ways, but we used to have a friend that made a lot of crass jokes all the time. And he and I had gotten into it just about Australia. And he was very much of the mindset that the U.S. was a bunch of gun-happy retards and whatnot. And I bet he's rethinking his stance.
Yeah, because it's really true. They had their false flag shootings, and they had their campaign to have everybody turn in their guns, and most people did it. And it's very hard to get guns or a license for guns or bullets there, and it's crazy. And now apparently they're doing this Gestapo style fucking open air like prison. That's crazy. I heard also in, I want to say LA, it was either LA or San Francisco, they also did the same thing with an apartment building. And so I guess that was just like a test run to see what would happen. But they did the same thing that Australia did. And they found this low income, mostly immigrants, apartment complex and locked it down full. Nobody could leave. Nobody could come for however many days, which I'm like, that's so fucking illegal. It's horrible.
But you know what's great is I think that this whole COVID thing, I think they've just overstepped it too much.
I hope
so.
Where
people that maybe were blindly would support the government and just go along with whatever. I think some people, like even people that were totally just a sheep, are starting to scratch their head and be like, this is a little fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope.
I hope.
I sure hope so. I'm trying every person I come in contact with. I try to nudge them in that direction.
Absolutely. No, I totally with you, and I hope so. And I feel that is kind of the way. And I hate getting like into the party politics thing, because I really do. Most of me lands on the side of like, it's all two wings of the same bird. It's flying in the direction it wants to go. It's all planned from the start. Even the little oppositions you see are all planned. I totally land there. But some small part of me is like scared that Joe Biden is going to win and that he's going to take away all our guns.
Yeah, isn't there that there's this part of it that I think is, I don't know if you call it masochistic or just retarded, but there's this small part of me that wants him to win. Just because I'm like, what the fuck would happen if this maniac, like, he had to like give a State of the Union, and would he just start saying all kinds of weird shit? And
he seriously,
like, they pretty much have to take him out like right off the jump, because even right now he's got such bad dementia that he can't even complete a couple sentences.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what the hell's going on. I swear to God, his "come on, man" has like increased in repetitions because what he uses.
I say it all the time now.
Yeah,
I can't stop saying it. I'm like fucking Joe Biden.
I used to say it before I knew he said it, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. But I think he says it now anytime he forgets what is going on. He's like, and then we need to, come on, man, You're like, no, finish your fucking sentence. If you're not retarded, finish your sentence.
Yeah, no, that, what a weird world we're in right now. Like, that guy potentially could be the fucking president, and he can't even talk.
Right.
That's amazing.
That is amazing that they have convoluted people's minds so much that they're like, I don't care if he touches kids. I don't care if he can't complete a sentence. Literally anyone but Trump. And you're like, this is fucked up, dude. That's fucked up.
And if you follow any kind of politics, what he's best known for is stuff that's, I mean, everyone's wanted to put that label of racism on Trump, but fuck, man, Biden's been like the enemy of the black for forever. And then he just made that really stupid comment that kind of insinuated like all blacks were the same or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this guy can't like open his mouth without saying something stupid.
No, yeah, it's absurd. And then that people keep like covering for him in their minds. They're like, oh, well, that's not racist to say because...
Yeah, they're like, we gotta
magic.
keep him in the basement. Is that what you would say about the leader of the fucking free world? We gotta keep him in the basement? Like, good Lord, don't we deserve better than that?
Yeah, for real, we do. I can't believe that they think that this is the best we can do. It's crazy. It makes me giggle.
And you know what else? Is 4 years ago, I was thinking the exact same thing. How in the world could two people that so many people dislike be the choice? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. And somehow they managed to find someone even fucking more ridiculous than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, dude, and Hillary Clinton is also a pedophile, but based on WikiLeaks email, code and whatever, it's like sacrificing children to Moloch and shit. So we've got a bunch of fucking pedophiles, and then I don't know. Trump probably is too. There's pictures of him with what's her face, his daughter Melania, or is that his wife Ivanka, whichever one.
No,
the daughter.
His daughter. There's a thing I've seen a bunch of times that people make a big deal about, where he like puts his hand on her hip, and I agree. It's a little fucked up. Like, it makes me uncomfortable, but at the same time, and again, I don't know this for a fact, but my sense is that guy was like always and pardon my language, but he's always like a pussy hound. Like, that guy was always going for hot model type chicks and stuff. And I think usually men that are attracted to women aren't also fucking kids. Now, I could be wrong about that.
I mean, they often are to like cover, right? But they're not like, I totally get what you're saying. They're not like actively like into older women and sort of almost obsessively so. That's a good point. Right.
Now he strikes me as the type of guy that's not a kid part. I hope not. I mean, because there's part of me that, when I'm really
wants to
down
believe.
I just pray that maybe the fact that every single, like, the media has never been so rotten to anyone. I mean, they're nicer to, I mean,
that's part of the thing
probably
that
gets better parts than Trump.
That's part of the thing that fucks with me too. I have all the same things do where I'm like, I don't want to trust any politician ever. I got like roped in with Bernie because I was still kind of socialist for a while way back then. And then I realized he's a fuckhead too, and so I was like, fuck it, I cannot keep doing this. I already knew all politicians were trash before this. Why didn't I fall into this? And then here's Trump with, I'm like, he kind of does like a lot of really cool things though, actually.
Well,
like,
he just did that shit like where he lowered the price of medication by like 50%.
Like, that's awesome.
And then he's like, gonna forgive student loans. I'm like, this motherfucker's kind of doing some
we have
stuff
less
that I can get behind.
We have less wars, we have less drone bombings, we have like way less, like significantly less. We're friends with fucking North Korea somehow. Like, World War III hasn't started. I'm just like, maybe it's real, maybe it's an illusion, maybe he's a fucking antichrist or something, I don't know, but like maybe he's kind of cool. Could be.
It just seems like all the people that I don't like fucking hate him. So I'm holding out hope that it's not all a big scam, but it probably
is. Yeah. We'll just admit that it probably is, and also hope.
It's fun to hold on to a little bit of hope.
Right. Totally. And not.
All right. Well. Yeah. Great to hear your voice, Lindsay. And
it's awesome to talk to you.
Rogue Ways, rock and rollers. All right.
Thanks.
To you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye, Brett. All right, someone had commented the line is busy. The line is busy if someone calls before you or I'm on the phone with someone. So anytime you hear me hang up, the line is open again. What's up, Sue Finelli? You're in the house. The Independent is here. When are we going to get into Bigfoot? Hey, if you call and we talk about Bigfoot, we'll talk about Bigfoot. Those Bigfoot romance textbooks. Yeah, there's actually romance books for every single, crazy animal. What are they called? I hate when I can't remember words. Bigfoot, Loch Ness, all of these things there's a word to describe them all, and there's romance books for all of them. Dog Man. I'm sure the Dog Man has lots of them. Yes, exempt. We're all exempt from wearing a mask if we want to, because you know why? We all have some sort of disability, and if the disability prevents us from wearing a mask for any reason, it's nobody's fucking business why or how, because we never have to explain it, because it's nobody's fucking business what our disabilities are. That's just the truth. All of 2020 is disappointing. Much of it is. My personal life, however, is extremely satisfying. I'm better than I've ever been, so I don't know, man. 2020 is okay. It's just the larger world seems completely insane. But we know the truth. We know that our hearts are all that matters, and connecting our hearts with one another in a network of goodness, truth, and beauty. That's the only thing that's real. Who cares about the rest of the other shit, right? We care, we pay attention, but we don't want to get like too attached to it or carried away with it because we can't control it, right? And we want to think the best about it and hope for the best and also just be doing the best for ourselves. The Independent says, I hope we get full on ET disclosure by the end of the year. I will say right now, I've said many times before, if we do, it will be complete lies and bullshit in order to get us to do something they want us to do, probably in line with Agenda 21. That's my take after many, many years of deep thought, research, and personal experiences. You are free, Bezifa says, to pick what kind of mask you wear. Yeah, that's our freedom. God bless America. Moloch is a dork. Moloch, apparently the demon that Bill Gates and others work with most closely is Baalam Moloch. That's his name. That's his full name. Now, if you're very skilled in magic or those types of practices, maybe you could do some banishment or suppression magic for us all. If you're very skilled, because it's probably dangerous work. I don't know. I don't do that stuff. Yeah, frazzle drip is disgusting also. That's a keyword for what? Ripping the face off kids or something? It's fucked up. These people are fucked up. It makes me murdery. Like, if I have weapons and I like know for sure someone's doing that, I don't know how I wouldn't actually kill them. Come on, man. Bernie is the king of the fuckheads. And I don't know if he was ever good and he got turned or if he was always this fucked up, but what a disappointment. Trump is definitely an actor. He's very good at that. He's more civilian than politician now. That's what Independent's comment made me think of. Star Wars, Darth Vader. Trump is divide and conquer. Yeah, for real, we are more divided than we've ever been. Good call. Well, IMDb has to list anyone who's on there as an actor, so... But they actually are all actors. Bizifus is right. I have no secretary and switchboard. This is a small operation. I just have the number 74033 Rogue. We might see martial law. Yeti romances are coming. I know I can't have pho anymore, Joseph Korea. What's up? Nice to see you. I can't have pho. Pho is rice noodles. I can't have rice. It's fucked up. There's no noodles I've found yet that I can have. They all have either egg in them. I can't have egg. Or like other shit that I can't have. And that's the autoimmune protocol. Careful even saying that name. Good point. I'm pretty protected though, but thank you. You're right. Maybe I should stop telling people the name, but it's on record. It's on an episode of Rogue Ways that Phoenix Aurelius and myself discovered the full name at 100% accuracy. So it was a pretty big find. But someday I'll be big enough. Excuse me, geez. I'll be big enough and I will hire operators to handle my phone calls and screen them ahead of time, and we'll know who's calling, what they want to say. Did you see 34 arrested in Kern County, California? Oh, no, I didn't. Let me look. Let me look at that. Kern County, California. In Kern County, California. Let's restate that. 34 arrested. Why wouldn't that just come up? 34 Central Valley men arrested during undercover. Here we go. Let me share this with you all as I look at it so you know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Stephanie Martin, for bringing that up. 34 Central Valley men arrested during undercover online child predator operation in Fresno. Woo! Get 'em. But watch them release them instantly because of COVID somehow. This is what they've been doing, right? There's that guy who got out. They released him. He was in for violent rape, which, of course, all rape is violent in its nature. But, like, you know, violent rape is different from not violent. You know what I mean? There literally is very different aspects of rape. Anyway, he was arrested for that. He was in jail. They let him go because of COVID. If you can't keep people quarantined, separated from each other, and give them masks in a jail, what would letting them out do for them? Like, it doesn't make any sense in the first place. But they're letting all these people out, including violent offenders, murderers, rapists, all kinds of people. And he gets out, and what does he do? He goes straight to his accuser and murders her. Because he's a fucking violent rapist. Like, he has no morals. Of course he's going to do this. Why the fuck did you let him out, you freaks? And I can't believe the people who live in the areas where this is happening are just putting up with it. But maybe they're not. Maybe we just don't see it. I don't know. It's crazy. But again, it's like people are so obsessed with Democrat versus Republican that these are Democratic places where it's happening. And they're like, no, this is the right thing to do because Democrats say so. I can't think for myself. Just days after the Kern County Sheriff's Officer announced 15 predators were arrested, another 34 men were arrested for various charges related to arranging to meet with a child for sex. Excellent. These are good people to grab. I wish they would more grab the people who are actually organizing the transfer of bodies to people for the purpose of rape and torture. Like, that would be even better. But it's cool to get these people too. I like it. Nice job. That's nice. That's excellent to see. I did, it's weird though. I wonder why Kern County seems to be like a hotspot of this shit, but the world is definitely trying our spiritual and mental endurance, Jesus. It's, in a way, we're being trained to be really, really excellent at being truly good and resisting and taking down evil, right? Otherwise, we're becoming part of the evil. You make a choice. So who is at the top, the Moloch worshippers or the Saturn worshippers? I think they're one and the same. I don't think that they're different. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I know there are differences in Moloch and Saturn. I just think the same people are practicing all the same types of magic, black magic. The black magicians are at the top. Let's say that. That's what we can say. What is Moloch's full name? That was it. It was Baal. I'll type it just in case. There you go. Now you can use that to whatever you'd like, hopefully to suppress and banish. Saying the name is not equivalent to invocation. I don't agree, but I understand what you're saying, and saying the name is a part of invocation. It's an important part. Your sound creates in the world what you're saying. But I, at least myself, and hopefully all of you have this going on too, have a protected space in which nothing can come in unless I very specifically intend for it in my mind, body, and soul all at the same time. But I do understand what you mean, and I agree that you shouldn't just say names and type names and write names and whatever. It's true in general. You cannot be named. But what is also true is that 100% of you, if you're listening to this, if something were to come peeking at you or trying to attach to you or messing with your space, you just tell them to leave and they're gone. 100% of the time they have to go. If you don't truly believe that, it's not as effective. If you have sort of things that you do that reinforce your belief and your ability sort of in the world, you know, like I have sort of actions that I take and things that I practice that reinforce that. You know what I mean? Those things help you believe, if you want to think about it that way. And that helps you be able to do this. But anyone can do that. And there's also positive allies, our spiritual entities that are positive allies that you can call on to help you do that. If you feel like you're having trouble or that, you're not sort of strong enough or sure enough or confident enough to make it happen for you, you can do that as well. I know it's not popular right now, but for me, invoking Jesus has worked 100% of the time. So it's an easy one. Whatever your beliefs are, it doesn't really matter. You can still use that if you need to. So try it if you need to. It works 100% of the time for me. And again, that is like an example of what Serena is talking about. Invoking the name sort of invokes the entity, but it has a lot more to do with intention and what you believe than than anything else. So if you believe just saying this evil entity's name will bring it to you, then it's a lot more likely to happen, right? Or if you don't know what you're doing and you do it in ignorance, it's a lot more likely to happen. So those are my experiences, at least, and that's what I'll share with you guys. Miracle noodles made from mushrooms. That'd be rad, Shadow. Thank you. Miracle. I'm gonna open a tab so I don't forget. Miracle noodle. There's also a noodle that it's not a noodle. It's a seaweed. It's like a little kelp. It looks like a noodle, and it looks exactly like a clear noodle. And you can use that for noodles too. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. I can have noodles again. Sergio Boner is right. The feds will claim that you have tens of thousands of child porn pictures on your computer when they want to frame you. So it is also important that we don't just think everyone's a pedophile or believe every single story about it that we hear. It's definitely a good point. Thank you. The line is still busy. It shouldn't be busy. The line is open, man. Thank you. I like that you like the braid. It's the easiest thing I can do, especially when it's 90 degrees all day every day and I can leave it wet and it cools me off a little bit. I like it. But this is awesome. I love that so many people are in the chat tonight. It makes me sad that I don't think I can respond to every single person, but I'm gonna try, do my best. Serena Del Mar suggests looking into Vedic astrology. Exactly. I talked about earlier having Athan Kamenti come on. He's a Vedic astrologer, and he's actually even revolutionized Vedic astrology to be more accurate, if you can believe that. So check that out. That's coming up in a few weeks. Word, Serena Del Mar. Jesus' name does work in my experience for fighting against sleep paralysis. That too. And I think it's because the same reason. Sleep paralysis in my experience is coming from dark entities that are, I'm not exactly sure what they're attempting to do. I have my theories, but because it's a dark entity that you would like to banish, you can ask Jesus to help you out with that, and it works. Good question. Eccentric asks, is Jesus the tarot, the traveling fool, the fool card, which is card 0? I love that question. Dude, let me just consider it for a moment. I don't think exactly so, but it's a really close. I just love the association. Jeremy Harbin is in the house, and he says, I wish what you're saying was true because none of it has worked for me. I get attacked almost every night. Well, then you need to learn spiritual protection, dude. I teach it. You can go to my website. You can buy that class, and I will show you everything you need. But God does protect us all. If you, whatever God is to you, you can also call on God for help, and that works 100% of the time as well. I know that there are situations where those things don't work, quote unquote. And the reason why is it's similar to the idea that Catholics have that they call perfect possession. And part of it has to do with if you invited that in, if some aspect of you is being served by having that attachment, it is harder to get rid of. And it's hard sometimes for us to know our own egos well enough to know if that's what's going on. If some part of you is getting like attention, let's say, or, and that, I'm not saying you are at all, Jeremy, that's not what I'm talking about, but like this can happen to people and it can make them think that these things don't work. Or if there's some part of you that doesn't believe that you deserve to be free of them, then they'll stick around. If there's some part of you that believes you're not capable of getting rid of them, they'll stick around. So it really is a matter of building up your belief and your ability. And that's part of why we use ritual, is to reinforce that, like, I am doing this and this is the outcome of it. I'm doing this for this reason and it works. You know that when you're doing these things, and that makes them more effective. So it's not like everyone can do it, 100% of people. It's not some like super woo-woo metaphysical thing. It's just literally about you creating your reality, you creating your space, you knowing that your space is safe and clear of everything but your own influences and the ones that you specifically invite into it. All of that. And it's practice. You take practice, the more you practice it and the more you do those things, the better they work. But it is nice that you have these egregores, if you want to call them that, spiritual allies, if you want to call them that, whatever you want to call it, morphogenetic fields, however materialistic you want to get with it or not, it's up to you. It doesn't matter. But the more that you can use those ones, you know, the idea of Jesus has been gaining all this energy for so long, and that all comes to you when you call that in, if you want it to. And same with the concept of God. So that's part of why my understanding, that's how things work, and my understanding, that's why those things are effective. But yes, they were with me much of my life too, until I kicked them out and got rid of them. The kelp noodle. Yeah, the kelp noodle's awesome. I'm glad you've tried it, Jillian. Oh, and mantras. Good point, Serena Del Mar. There are mantras that you can use. The mantra is the same sort of a thing as like a ritual when you're saying it over and over again, whether it's in your mind silently or out loud. Out loud is more effective because our sound waves literally create and move energy around. But the saying it in your head works the same, right? You're reinforcing it over and over again as you say the mantra. You're reinforcing this idea, so you start to believe it, you start to create it. It starts to gain more and more morphogenetic field around you, and you protect yourself. But is there a Vedic horoscope? Yeah, it's the same horoscope as the Western sort of, or whatever we're supposed to call the one that we all know and use more often in the Western world. It's the same exact horoscope. It's just different timings. If you cast your chart in the Vedic astrology, it will be different probably than what your chart is now. So I'm a Sagittarius in the sort of traditional way that we all grew up with in the Western world. But when I do Vedic astrology, I'm Ophiuchus, which I've always said Ophiuchus, but I was corrected recently and it's Ophiuchus. So my sign changed. The timings are just a little bit off because they're more accurate, if you want to look at it that way. But I didn't yet check out Powers and Principalities, Joseph. I have it at an open tab waiting for me. I've been super busy. And apparently my line is stuck on busy. I don't know, man. That thing doesn't always work. It's partially probably because Google hates me. But it does say someone called. I just didn't hear it. Maybe it's because I wasn't on that tab. They are parasites. Shadow says, it might seem dark, but it's just natural. We perceive less than 2% of the electromagnetic spectrum we inhabit. It's natural, as weird as it can seem. I understand. I agree with you, but I don't necessarily think just because something natural that makes it okay or permissible. Parasites in the material world I don't want in me either, and I would also banish them. You know, they're also negative and dark. So, like, I understand what you're saying, but I have a slightly different interpretation of the, analysis of it. Yes. All right, guys, I am going to, I think I can actually call this person back. Can I call this person back? I'm calling someone. I'm calling someone who called in. So if you are listening, I'm calling you. It's going to probably say like unknown because I think I have it as, hello, this is Rogue Ways. Who is this?
Hi, this is Gray.
Hi, Gray.
You just called back, and that's cool.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Sorry that I didn't hear the call when you first called. It happens sometimes for some reason I don't understand. And apparently for other people, it's just busy the whole time and they can't get through it all. So whatever. At least we got through to each other. What's up, Gray? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just chilling at home and
Nice.
tuned in. So I enjoy your streams.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's always something new. So
True.
and yeah, just like in the Facebook group, it's like you never know what you'll get.
That's why I love it. It's so eclectic. It's all of these people who are open-minded thinkers and who agree to respect each other, even if they disagree, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to say was it's kind of corny, but I was actually like really into answering those 2 questions or whatever questions like to get into the group.
Oh yeah?
Like one of them was like, what do you think of a conspiracy theory? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
And it's pretty limited in the space. So I came up with something that I like felt like I was proud of because it explains it pretty succinctly.
Oh, I love succinct. Do you have it still or are you going to share it with us?
From memory, I think it was like, liars have to conspire, and their theories are a dime a dozen. But it's something a little more eloquent than that,
Yeah.
but something about like how the truth will come out eventually.
Yes.
But yeah, the reason why there's so many conspiracy theories is because there's a lot of conspiracies, but theories will always just like demand more evidence, and it's kind of like where there's smoke there's fire. I think it usually boils down to that.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to say it, and I like that it rhymes too, which is awesome.
Liars must conspire.
Yeah, it's absolutely
it
true.
Means literally to breathe together, almost like singing in unison. And if one person stands out, then that'll kind of raise questions, and that's where the crack is. That's where the theories start to crop up around those cracks where the lie is just not able to be held together perfectly.
Wow.
By everyone.
Yeah, I have never thought of the etymology of it or the roots and what they mean, but con is together or with, and spire is to breathe. So it's an excellent point. And what I always hate that people are like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, or like, oh, you believe in conspiracies. And I'm like, dude, anytime two people are together trying to figure out what to do, they're literally conspiring. So do I believe in conspiracies? Like, yeah, they happen all day, every day with every single human practically, So all you then have to ask yourself is like, are some of them nefarious and secretive? And like, yeah, of course. Like, that's what liars and politicians do. So it's just stupid to think that there's no conspiracies in the world. It's literally, there's something wrong with your thinking if that's what you think.
Absolutely. I think the classic example you can raise to anyone to help them understand it is when you throw a surprise birthday party, you're engaging in conspiracy.
Yes.
You and that's even got like the tinge of like you're gonna be fooling someone. You have to like pretend, you have to lie, like feign ignorance. That's an easy way to see how it plays out. Like someone, hypothetically could say like, oh well, how would they all keep a secret? It's like, well, of course they don't always. There's whistleblowers for a reason. They usually get dealt with one way or another, and because the system has its tentacles in so many places, people usually step into traps. And the birthday party thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, have you ever done that?
It's totally a really good point. Some conspiracies are positive, obviously, but somebody in the chat just said that I scripted these calls. And I'm like, what? I've never even talked to you, Gray. We've talked in Eyes Open a few times, right? But like,
scripted me. Yeah, you said me. I got your psychic transmission that I should sit down at my computer and open the stream,
right,
and switch off to my phone and send a call in, and then listen to the Google robot say like, please state your name, and then hang up, kind of figure like, oh, well, I didn't really have anything to say when I came on.
Yeah.
And then we'll just wait for you to call me back.
Right.
That's what you intended, right?
hoping, right, exactly. No, these are not scripted. Brett and I are friends. I have his phone number in real life. Like, we've talked before on the phone. Like, Gray and I are friends in the group. We've talked before, but not, like, talked. I don't even think we've private messaged, probably. No, I don't know. But, like,
I haven't.
Yeah.
Really, it's just been,
it's not
like
scripted.
in Facebook comments.
Yeah, calm down,
nice
Jesus.
to talk
Although
to you.
I am sorry that Jesus couldn't get through, but that's not why you couldn't get through. I don't know why. We've had problems with these calls in the past, but yeah, it is nice to talk to you and awesome. Thank you for calling in. I love the points you brought up. They're very poignant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about like these things, and I would say to, of course, always temper your investigation into all the really dark stuff, the externalities, the distortion, if you will.
Yeah.
Balance it with, the wholeness of this existence.
Yes, and that's
whatever that may be for you.
Right, and that's the other thing I like about Eyes Open group on Facebook is that we all, I think, have not. In no way do we have the same ideas, but I think a lot of us have that understanding that we need positivity and community and sort of connection and the focus on the things that are good in life as well as all the dark shit that we want to like know about but not get totally lost in, because that balance is really important. And
super important. And it's really like it's a struggle to get it
yes.
through a platform like Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so inadequate.
Yeah.
It's like, even like going back to like the operating system level of Windows, think of how many like just millions upon millions of human hours of anxiety due to technology and compatibility. It's all because like really Bill Gates was groomed to be this like billionaire mogul from, okay, so he came up with like Windows in his garage. That's the story, right?
Right.
It's,
yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's of course, nothing to see here.
Right.
So as far as I know, it's something like the programming for BIOS, which is like the layer underneath the Windows operating system.
The basic.
That was
input,
straight
output.
up ripped off of some guy's like code.
Yeah.
Who just got paid maybe $150K for that, and they just locked it up.
Yeah.
Like they're like, this is ours now. Like that is so profoundly heinous, because like if you think about it from like a planned obsolescence idea, like you wouldn't really, depends on your incentive. If you want your machines to just be used by everybody, well, you would make the software that the hardware needs in order to run be open and free and available. And like you wouldn't want it to be secret. You would want it to be shared.
Yes.
So that your machines keep working. But that's not the business model we got from old Billy Gates. It's instead they basically get paid to like fix the viruses that they create. Oh wow, sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah. Almost like what he's doing with humans. This is
Hey.
that thing you brought up about Bill Gates, and I think it's National like Expose Bill Gates Day, so I'm glad this came up actually. Or maybe that was yesterday, I don't know. But anyway, we're sort of close.
Every day.
But that thing, I just learned that I didn't really realize that back before he stole BIOS and like made Windows, which he also stole, and like stole all this shit and made it into something that he could sell and make money off of, that it was this huge sort of open source culture, and that people were like, why would you ever like resist? Why would you restrict people's accesses, or why would you try to in any way like dumb it down or pare it off from the whole or whatever? And that I did not realize that, but it makes so much sense, because this is what humans are naturally like, I think, because we're like, hey, look at this cool thing.
It's so counter to the culture at the time for software developers. They all could see that open source made everything better.
It still
for
does.
Everyone.
Still does.
Oh, humanity still does.
Yeah. Wherever
it can, without getting corrupted.
Right.
Because like that's just all this like the Babylon does.
Babylon.
So it's the techno Babylon. It's weird. Albuquerque. That's where he was.
Oh yeah.
Bill Gates was when kind of that turning point happened. And
yeah.
When I traveled through there, I could remember seeing it's like so spread out on the lands. Like there's no skyscrapers, and it's just this vast 2D plane network of almost like a microchip.
Weird.
Like a silicon.
Do you remember what you're saying this? All I'm hearing in my head is Bugs Bunny saying, I must have taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Like, that's where we took the wrong turn, dude.
That's where we took the wrong turn.
Like, as a people.
In the computer.
Yeah.
Just all the frustration. It's really like, it pisses me off more than the vaccines and stuff, because you can say no to vaccines, but it's like try to get by without using a computer.
True, but can you say no to vaccines, because they're already making plans, and all of these states are saying like, we can force vaccinations in our state. That's part of their, they've got the precedent set before this all went down, that they can force vaccinations. It all has to do with like public health and blah, blah, blah. And so apparently in a lot of states, they are going to try to force vaccinations. And we just saw, I don't know if you saw this or the people in the chat saw this, but I think it was, I don't know if it was like Huffington Post, or it was a pretty mainstream article, and it was an opinion piece, of course, but it was pushed pretty heavily, and it's spreading around, and it was all about how the opinion is that we should force vaccines because COVID is so bad. It's like Orange Man bad, COVID bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad that nobody knows it's there except for the news is telling us it's there.
The TV says it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Exactly. I'm like, wow, this is already being sort of percolated out. I'm sure we're going to start seeing more and more articles and more people talking about it on the media, and like more, it's going to sift out, and people are going to start talking. All the sheep are going to be like, yeah, we have to force vaccinate. And I'm going to be like, all right, come meet my gun. That's what we'll do.
So I can see you're coming from like that angle of like it's bound to happen. I mean, and you're right. It's bound to happen somewhere.
Yeah.
Like definitely in America, it's happening here. In other countries, I'm not so sure.
Good point.
Because of like the real, like, I think Germany and London, like, protests that we don't hear about at all through any mainstream source, and like nothing except for those countries' own news. Like we don't get to hear about the 1.3 million people protesting in Germany.
True. And I've seen little whispers of it. So you're absolutely right. We have to remember that we don't, our vision, even as people who are looking and aware, is still clouded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've commiserated plenty of times about just how frustrating it is to go out into the world with people who just don't get it.
Right.
They just think it's like how's COVID really affecting you? It's because you've heard about it through the TV. Like, look at the Amish. They don't get COVID. They don't watch TV. It's a very straight correlation, and the real virus is fear.
Well, and it's like people keep pointing out, like, isn't it amazing we've had no flu this year at all? Nobody's had the flu. Nobody's died from the flu. Like, it just stopped, because obviously they're saying those deaths are COVID, when whether they are or not, whether that's even a real thing or not. But I loved earlier, Brett brought up Australia, and I remember someone showing me today, I think Johnny was showing me that in Australia there was like a news network that put out like a call, on Facebook or wherever, and they were like, hey, tell us your COVID stories. Like, they want to get the like person piece, and they pull on people's heartstrings and like get the locals to talk about how bad it's been. And all these people commenting were like, oh, it's been so horrible that not a single person knows anyone who's even gotten sick. And like all the comments were like that. So I was like, I feel like everybody fucking sees through it except people in the United States who are like mind controlled by the talkie box. It's weird.
Yeah, it really does seem to be hitting like just a few specific cities, centers, really, like New York obviously being like the epicenter of the epicenter, and the epicenter within that being the one hospital. The one hospital. Yeah, the one with I think the nurse's name was, gosh, I forget her name.
I do too.
But
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she was straight up saying like, well, she had the recordings of the doctor saying like, oh yeah, there's no other way for these patients. They have to get on the respirators. Then she retorts like, but 9 out of 10 don't get off the respirators. He's like, yeah, that's just how it is. And as if like, this is how we just have to do it, and that's like, where
that's murder.
Where's that in the medical practice guidelines?
Again, how is that part of the Hippocratic Oath? Well, it's like so New York is the epicenter, and maybe it's a combination of things, but at the very least, it's what you were just describing. They were the ones who were like, give us all these ventilators, we can stick every single person on a ventilator and kill them. They're all dying because ventilation kills you. It helps in really, really rare cases, rarely. Anyway, it's a stopgap method, and definitely they were putting people on it and killing them. And then they also sent the people who were sick into nursing homes with people who didn't know how to keep them quarantined and didn't, whatever you think about viruses and whether this virus is real or not, whatever, they sent sick people into those places and massive amounts of elderly people died. And that did not happen anywhere else. But in New York, they had an order from Cuomo saying that nursing homes have to take in these sick people. So they had to. So then everyone died. And I'm like, how is no one suing over this? How is that guy not totally in jail right now? That's murder. Both of those things are murder, but one of them is very provable and the other one might be harder to prove.
Yeah, and when I just recently got in touch with a friend of mine who's got, he has a lot of family in New York, and he's telling me how, he knows people who died of COVID, and just doesn't get that it's really just completely fabricated. And so I didn't have the time to really go into it with him. So I just said, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
And getting people to see it. It's a really delicate matter to tell someone basically that their beliefs are very just unfounded in the reality, and really kind of fed by the media and the zeitgeist, I suppose.
Yeah, and
the whole germ theory is part of this zeitgeist.
Yes. And if you try to kind of even just ask people well, why do you think that? Where's your evidence? Or what do you mean? And how did you know this? It always comes back to just well, I saw it on the news. And you're like, well, unfortunately, that's not evidence. That's just a thing. It's just a person talking about things. It'd be like if you took anything I said and treated it as an absolute fact or belief. But this is interesting, and I don't know if it's true, but I would believe that it could be true. And Shadow is saying that the doctors haven't taken the Hippocratic Oath since the late 70s in the USA, and it's considered superstition. And I didn't know that. I thought the Hippocratic Oath was something everybody did. That's kind of fascinating. I don't know.
I wonder who they are taking an oath to.
Right.
Well,
yeah, good point.
I haven't been to a doctor in a while, and I'm going to be very deliberate in the medical practice that I do go to. But
yes,
I'm also at the age where I can't be on my family's plan for health insurance anymore, so I need to get on something for myself. And as far as I can tell, I don't have a lot of good options.
No, you don't. Doctors,
options are pretty poor.
Doctors, unfortunately, accidentally, mostly, some of them through pure ignorance, some maybe intentionally, I don't know, but I think most of them just through ignorance and thinking that they know everything. They're murderers, and most of them. And then insurance is just a scam. You're going to pay all this money and you're not going to get a lot out. I fervently believe the best insurance you can do is eating exceptionally well and taking really good care of yourself, and then researching for yourself symptoms, not on WebMD, but just in maybe naturopathic circles or those sorts of places, and trying to figure out what's going on. And I do think there's people who are really, really knowledgeable healers, such as Phoenix Aurelius, I think is an amazing researcher and healer, and that would be great, but you can't always get into these people because they're so good that they're full, so I think that those are the best things we can do, is just really take really good care of ourselves. I don't know, doctors never talk about nutrition, they never talk about diet, they never talk about exercise. They're just here's your symptoms, okay, here's some pills, and then you leave, and it's that's never gonna help any of us, very few of us at least, and hopefully for a temporary time until we figure out what the root of the problem is. But that's my suggestion for you, Gray.
Yeah, one idea that I've had is this this whole insurance racket. It's really just time for us to let that go.
Yes.
Let it go behind, because there is a better way, and it is, I think, pretty much possible now to facilitate it through cryptocurrency, which is that everyone who wants to be in on this insurance plan, buys into it, and it's just written into a contract that this only covers for catastrophic accidents.
Yeah.
You don't get to take from this pool of money for your diabetes medicine. Of course, I know sometimes that's hereditary, but
right.
Notwithstanding the preconditions, this is about an emergency,
like you get your arm cut off suddenly or something.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
you need a reconstructive surgery
Yeah.
for your head after being in an accident or something like serious, and that could be supported by, I don't know, like what the minimum number would be. Probably a healthy start would be like 25 people paying into that.
Yeah.
Who all know each other, at least have some connections and trust with each other, that they're not going to try to rip each other off. And it's all level, it's all decentralized.
Yes.
I don't see why it can't happen with the smart contract.
These do.
It
thing
doesn't need to be this huge corporation with office skyscrapers. Like that's the waste part of it. That's the siphoning of the wealth, like from people who need
Yes.
to be covered. And so the insurance companies don't like to actually pay out for that reason, because they've got to make money.
This is exactly.
Why are we just
people are doing that?
Around with it?
people are doing this. There are collectives where people pool their money together and do exactly what you're describing, and you can find them and you can join them. And if there's places that are still like requiring that you have insurance, it counts as insurance, and no one's making money off of it. And I don't know how you like get in touch with these people or do these things, but I've heard of them. I know they exist. So I think that is a really great point and a really great solution. Because insurance is a scam.
Yeah, that's
no matter what it's
encouraging
for.
to know that you know of them, so that I'm not the first person to think of this. I would hope not.
And it's often like a libertarian sort of thing that people have done. I know that usually it's attached to a certain doctor for some reason, and I don't know if that's like a legal reason or what the fuck, but
that's probably the easy way to do it, is that you have like a surgeon who's like can do all this kind of stuff, or at least a practice that, and they'll accept that associated with
that's a good point.
Yeah, so I don't see it far off from becoming a viable option for more and more people.
Which is why they'll try to like set something up, like some kind of false flag where that goes horribly wrong and everyone in it gets murdered. So no one will do it ever again.
There's going to be like for one like legitimate like good group of these things, like there's going to be 5 scams, and that's how the ICOs were. So people just need to like see the pattern of like, there's going to be like waves of hype.
Yes.
But it's always because of something that's been building for much longer, and it requires an in-depth understanding to like really become in order to get yourself to a better situation, rather than to be rocked by the wave. And I like you said, it's probably like the libertarian circles, the Free State, New Hampshire, is probably where this is happening.
Yeah, it might be. I feel like one was in Eastern Washington, but I don't know. My brain is a weird hodgepodge of half-remembered things. But I feel like this has been an awesome call, and I should let you go because I'm going to start wrapping things up soon because I'm coming up to the 2-hour mark. But it was excellent to finally talk to you in real life, and you are a wealth of knowledge and cool ideas, so I hope you call in on a future show.
Oh, Lindsay, thanks. It's been great talking, and I hope to do this again sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely. Good night. Thanks for your call.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. So just so you guys know, I do call people back if they call, and it records the number, and I don't answer it right away. And Jesus, I'm still sorry I didn't get your call. Next time you're going to have to call. I plan to do this probably Tuesday again. So any of you out there listening who might want to call in, it's awesome when people call in. I know that it can take a little stroke of bravery and that it can be hard to be on, and whatever, but I try my hardest to make it easy. I was a teacher for like 14 years, so I'm pretty good at filling up space. That's our basic job, right? Just joking. I was a better teacher than that. But anyway, I think I make it easy for you. So don't be scared if you're out there thinking like, oh, I want to call in. I might call in. Do it next time. And again, Tuesday we'll probably do exactly that, unless something changes and something comes up and somebody wants to be interviewed or whatever might happen, But as of now, it will probably be very similar today, where I will have a sort of topic that we don't have to stick to but can. and that you can all call in and talk to me about shit. I love talking to you guys. It's awesome. Lori showed up. Lori, it's nice to see you. What is up? Sorry you came at the tail end. It has been a super fun episode. Lots of interaction. People out there are rad. Again, I love the Swarm. Thank you, Swarm, for coming. It's been awesome to see you guys here and interact with you. Maybe some of you will call in soon as well. Today we had Eyes People, which was really cool. And I love that, but maybe next time we'll get some other people in the loop as well. And yeah, real quick, Shadow just brought up that only 23% of humans supposedly are capable of internal dialogue. And that's that thing that I think actually everyone's doing, which is thinking. You're just thinking. And supposedly this is true. This is a test they did a while ago. I feel like this came out like last year or whatever, and it was right at the same time that the concept of NPCs was big. So they sort of like collapsed, or maybe Shadow was saying that NPC actually theory came from that. NPC, of course, means non-player character. And it's those characters in story, you know, in games where you'd go up and you say something and they only say like two things over and over again because they're not a real character in the story and they're not meant to be deeper than that. So the idea that there's a bunch of humans that are NPCs, they're just like programmable and they just repeat what they're supposed to and they just play their role and they don't have thoughts is a thing. That's a thing. Apparently 23% of people have thoughts and are real people and everyone else is just an NPC. It is a thing, apparently, and I just want to say that my idea about this is that it's possible that the way they phrased that and did the study led to that result and that it's not real, and so we shouldn't necessarily go around treating people like they are actually NPCs, because the way they phrased it is they were like, do you have internal dialogue? And when people think about dialogue, they think about talking back and forth between two people, and they think about specific like wording and stuff, and that's not necessarily how everyone experiences thoughts. My thoughts are much more like visual and impression and symbolic than that when I really get down to it. I do have some sort of like word thoughts and dialogue that goes on and like shit like that. Like I really think everybody has thoughts. I could be totally wrong, but maybe I'm too hopeful. I don't know, but I just saw that Shadow and I had to give my quick thing on it. But until you can call out every pedophile you see, every pedophile related toy that you see, show people that it is real and not debunkable, call out pedophile presidential candidates when you see them, show people that it is not Russian interference that this person touches kids, until you can treat yourself well and healthy and keep doctors out of your life as much as possible, prescriptions out of your life as much as possible, eat healthy, take care of your body. This vessel is yours to do with as you please, and if you honor it, it honors you back. I know it's not always easy, but until you can do all of that, see how I try to tie everything together? Until you can do all of that on a regular basis and send out all the goodness that you've acquired by doing so back into the world to create something awesome around you in as many people as possible, but mostly in yourself. You got to do it for yourself first before you can give it out. But until you can give it out because you've done it for yourself, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Come back on Tuesday. Mwah.
Baby, it's the rap machine. Yeah, check it. Gray bearded pirate, my motherfucker unknown. Yeah, come on. In the place with my fist up, meaning I resist the bullshit that they feed us and lead us. This is just a part of the process, man. Just watch this, cause this shit's about to get crazy like a mosh pit. We lost it, toss it, let's start it again. Cause now with technology, with smarter men and women, this is the beginning, not the end. If this is the message of hope that I send, look on your TV, it's a culture of death. They'll keep on lying to the very last breath. We keep on striving and spreading the truth. It's hard to survive in this world full of youth. The door is closed, the old world is dead. Let's have an age of understanding instead. I'll include you and you include me. Let's see what we can build with some positivity. Let's go, you're moving too slow. Let me see your hands if you know what I know. Come on.
Rap like mummy, ain't no dummy in my rhyming. Started flowing freestyle and now they rhyming loud silence. On with the violence, bodies piling with the gray bearded pirate. On your TV in 4K 3D virtual reality. Casualty of urban warfare. I know but I'm not scared, just prepared and aware. Shining my light through the tunnel of hope. Into the rope, but I'ma give it one more pull. Till the family is full. Take the bull by the horns and lead it to the slaughter. That would be harder and you would be softer. Sometimes I'm a monster and you forever imposter. With your champagne and lobster. This royalty, the way it was supposed to be. Hopefully the new door opens and the old one closes. With way more focus and growth to mold us. And the truth that they should have told us.
To them screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rulers that don't like you. Refer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The paupers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet. Everyone got a gift, everyone got a light. They want you to forget that ish, cause they can't dim the bright. The positive vibration takes you past the sign shackles. From the sewers and the alleys in the moving castles. Who these assholes really serving with an exposed Achilles surgeon around the corner lurking to prove ascension trumps perversion. Learn them to catch fish and unplug the signal. Show them the simpletons now build the fucking temples.